So my unboxing and initial impressions video on the Tecno Camon 15 was filled with much disappointment due to the quite disappointing performance of its cameras. But hey, we're here and we have an updated Camon 15 Premier, and Tecno says they fixed all the previous issues that had to do with the cameras and that this device is now much improved. But is it? Everything I'll be saying in this video are my opinion on the Tecno Camon 15 Premier and isn't influenced by any brand or any individual. I have an obligation to say the truth, and that's what you'll be getting in this video. Before we dive in, do like this video, and a sub to the channel will be awesome. Also turn on notification and go grab yourself some snack, and let's begin. I'll start this review with the cameras, since this was the pain point in my previous video. We got a quad camera setup at the rear of this phone. There's a 64 megapixel main wide angle camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. Fourth and last camera here is a QVGA camera. I can say for sure, compared to the results from my first look on this device, that the image results here are way better than what it was. So in my first look, images taken with the Camon 15 Premier were a far cry from what we were used to seeing from the Tecno Camon series of smartphones. Tecno Camon 11 Pro still holds a place in my heart as one of the best released photography smartphones from Tecno. But let's see how the 15 Premier holds up. So I took this phone around Lagos, and here are the results from the camera array on the rear of the smartphone. So first, dynamic range is a bit improved. I took some direct pictures of the sky and it handled the highlights quite well, although there are times when you have blown out sections of the sky. But overall, the general representation of the photos taken were quite pleasing. You get well-balanced photos with decent color reproduction of the scene. The rear cameras actually took some very impressive photos. Low light performance on the rear camera was also improved, with some of the shots I took actually surprising me, although I noticed that I really had to keep the phone steady to achieve good low light photos. This, however, is a thing with almost all smartphone cameras. Now, selfies on the other hand were okay. We've seen this pop-up design all through 2019 and it's still functional now in 2020, but on the photos from the Selfie Cam, I was still dealing with some overexposure issues where you had a lot of light in the background and the pictures just get really blown up. You can't see any details when you have light shining from behind. But the pictures look clean overall. I particularly liked the skin tones from the Selfie camera this time around, and you mostly get great shots from the Selfie camera. If you're taking shots indoor where you have a lot of lighting, you'll be absolutely fine with the Selfie camera. With regards to portraits, I was quite impressed with some of the photos I took. Edge detection on subjects were quite good, and the background blur was not the best or the deepest, but it was really impressive. You know, just the right balance between blur and focus on the subject. Enough with the cameras, let's talk about the battery on the Tecno Camon 15 Premier. So how has the Camon 15 Premier performed in the last month of my use? Well, the 15 Premier has performed good, just as you expect a mid-range device to perform. Battery life is something I'm really impressed with in this phone. You get a 4000 mAh battery on this phone, and you typically get a full day of use on this device and have to charge maybe only once at the end of the day. I'm a really very heavy user. I'm going to say that the battery here is quite decent. There's a 1080p LCD screen on the Tecno Camon 15 Premier, and it's an average screen. It's an average 1080p display. Colors look accurate but are not as saturated as you have on some other LCD screens that I've actually used. Videos generally look good on the screen, and if you're watching in 1080p, you'd be absolutely satisfied with the picture reproduction on the screen. But you'd find that using this device under direct sunlight may be difficult, and this is because it doesn't get very bright under direct sunlight. But it's a really big screen, and I like the 19.5:9 aspect ratio that we have on the Tecno Camon 15 Premier. It's ideal for watching videos. You have no camera cutouts or notches obstructing your view, and I give the screen a 5 out of 10. If there's one thing a lot of new phone buyers ask about, it's about the storage and RAM capacity of the device they would like to pick up. Well, with the Camon 15 Premier, you've got sufficient storage to do as much as you want to do. The Camon 15 Premier features 128 gigabytes of internal storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. And if somehow you manage to fill that 128 gigabyte up, there's an option to expand it using the dedicated micro SD card slot up to 256 gigabytes. Let's talk a bit about the software. So if you've seen my previous review of Tecno phones, you know that I'm actually always impressed with Tecno's High OS, except for the bloatware part. We have iOS 6 on the Camon 15 Premier, and I think this is a very clean and smooth iteration of iOS. The UI looks clean and streamlined, and I love how clean the setting page is. The icon design is getting better by the day, and it's much flatter and just makes the overall UI look really good. I wish, however, that Tecno would do away with the addition of apps that most people will probably never use. You have Android 10 on the Camon 15 Premier, and thank goodness for that, as you have system-wide dark mode and gesture navigation is also here. And if this device will be upgraded to Android 11, well, I don't really know, but I guess I'll be reaching out to Tecno to find out if they will. And once I get a response, I'll leave it down in the description of this video, and you can also follow me on social media to get that feedback. For the price and build, the Tecno Camon 15 Premier costs $260. That's 95,000 Naira in this part if you live here in Nigeria. It uses the glass front and a plastic back and plastic frames. There's an earphone port, a USB-C charging port, a fingerprint at the back of the phone, and more. But at this price point, some other people would argue that there are other phones out there that use much more premium materials. And yeah, they'd be right. But you also have to consider what you want. Like I always say, glass feels much premium, but glass shatters when you drop it. Plastic doesn't. So the choice really is yours. You may feel much safer with a phone made with plastic than a phone made with glass on the front and back. I have a case constantly on my Galaxy S20 Ultra, and whenever I take that case off, I'm always kind of sad because I realize how much I'm missing the actual feel of the phone in my hands. But I guess you can never have it all. So in conclusion, what are your thoughts on the Tecno Camon 15 Premier? Do you think the improvements in the cameras are significant? I'd love to hear from you in the video comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you think this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.